Hello everyone, in this video we will see together how to reproduce the travel therapy website using Elementor, which has just won the Elementor Site of the Month award. We break down this video into 7 parts. First, we will discuss the prerequisites that will allow you to achieve the result. Then, we will cover the error section, the animations inside the page, the scrolling effect, the modal, the loader, and finally, performance optimization. Let's start with the prerequisites. To achieve this result, it's preferable to have a basic understanding of vector illustration. The website's design was created in Illustrator, which just allowed me to define the structure and export each component in SVG format. SVG is a very lightweight and uncompressed media format, which means, unlike formats like JPG or PNG, it provides a very sharp result and loads very quickly. The first step, therefore, is to design your mockup in the best format. Illustrator is just one example. You can also use other software like Photoshop. It's essential that you have a good understanding of layers, layer group, and layer stacking. Now, let's get back to the website. First, I'll show you my Elementor configuration. In the Elementor settings under the Features section, you should enable the Flexbox container, which is very useful for web design. Also, activate several features related to loading performance, and most importantly, enable custom anchor point, which will help you to optimize your site's responsiveness as best as possible. If you want to import SVG files into the WordPress library, you need to go to the Advanced section and check Enable Unfiltered File Uploads. Also, please disable default typography and colors in the General section. For this site, I use the Hello Elementor theme, developed by Elementor, which ensures the best compatibility. Elementor allows you to almost completely bypass the need of a custom theme because you can recreate everything from the header to the footer as you wish. So I will use Elementor for almost all of my projects. This theme has the advantage of being free and regularly updated. Now let's talk about the hero section. It's the first thing visitors see when they arrive at the website, and it's the one where I put the most effort to create a wow effect. Let's break down how it works. As you scroll, a mask disappears, revealing the website, and several elements change in terms of dimensions. As you can see, I focused on using animation effects with overlapping elements. The mask, in particular, has a transparent part that allows you to see what's behind it. How does this look in Elementor? First, create a page and activate the navigator. It's essential in this kind of project to have a good overview of your page's content. Then, manage the page settings at the bottom left. Hide the title and set the page template to Elementor canvas. This way, there will be no photo or header on this page, and you'll start with a completely blank template. Next, go to the page style, still under settings, and set a background. If possible, save your colors as global colors to reuse them more easily later and change them all at once if needed. It's very practical. And there you have it, we can get started. Here you can see that I've created a group of elements, combining the mask and the top content of the page. To do this, the first step is to create a Flexbox section. Set its width to 100%, height to 100 VH, which means 100% of the screen height, and set its padding to 0. Next, rename this section to Hero in your navigator. This results in an empty section that spans the entire width and height. Apply a background to this section. To do so, go to Style, then select an image as a background. Choose an image, set its position, and set its size to cover. Configure it as no repeat. Now let's create the content that will go under the mask. The website is designed to be responsive on all screens and use 100% of the viewport. So it's essential to use values like VH and percentage instead of fixed pixel size. In the navigator, right-click on Hero, copy it, then right-click again on Hero and choose Paste. Rename the pasted section to Content and add content to it. Remove the content background in the Style section. In my example, I will add text, so I will choose the heading widget and place it within the section. I'll name it Website Superheading and set it as the H1 title. Center it and then style it in the style section. I will choose the color saved in the color kit, define the font family and set a size. As I mentioned earlier, it's better to use dynamic size rather than fixed size for such cases. So I recommend using RM instead of pixels in our case. Next, I set the font weight to bold. Our text is centered horizontally but not vertically, so I will select Content in the navigator, go to the Justify Content settings and set it to center. Now, my content is vertically centered in this section. If I add a subtitle by duplicating the H1 title with a right click, I will see that it appears below and aligned in the center as well. I can also add a background to this section. To do this, I go to Style, and just like for the Hero section, I set an image and adjust the parameters according to the image. Now, let's move to the mask. Duplicate the content section, rename it Mask, and erase the two widgets inside it. Replace the background with an image that has a transparent area. Like this. What we want is for this mask to be above our content area, so go to the Advanced section of the Mask section and set the position to Absolute. This positions the mask at the top, and we start to see the effect we want. Now, what we want is the scroll appearance effect. To achieve this, go to the Advanced part of the Mask section and enable the scrolling effect in Motions effect. Choose Scale and set the direction to scale up, and adjust the speed according to the shape of the mask. Don't hesitate to use a high value and test it in real time. In my example, I'm using 30. Set the viewport to 50 to 100. I recommend adding a temporary blank section under the hero for this. To do so, add a spacer widget and set it approximately to 1600 pixels. Now we have the desired effect, but there is a problem of overflow that increases the window's width. To fix this, select the mask section. Go to Additional option and set the overflow to hidden. This resolves the overflow problem, and we have obtained the result we wanted. Not bad, right? To add more effects, you can apply the same motion effects to the text. For example here, the text enlarges as we scroll when we apply the scale effect. The current mask is designed for use on a computer, but you can also choose a mobile adapted version like this. As for responsiveness, activate the responsive mode at the bottom left and adjust your settings according to the selected device. For example, we can change the typography size on mobile and also change the backgrounds according to the device. That's all for our hero section. We can now move to the other parts of the website. Now, I will remove the temporary separators section that we created earlier and add a new section like this. I will set it to full width, 100% width, and remove its internal padding by setting it to 0. I will rename this section to Separator in a navigator. I will apply a background to it from Style. Set it to center, no repeat, and cover size. I will give the section a minimum height adapted to the background, in this case 35 VH. It would be nicer to see it appear in the hero section, so to achieve that, I will go to the advanced section and adjust the margin top in percentage to move it upward. You will notice that the sections overlapped with our mask. To fix it, select the mask again in the navigator, go to the Advanced section, and then set the Z index to 100. The higher the Z index is, the more the elements will be placed at the top level during overlapping. So at 100, it's above all elements with a Z index less than 100. You can position any elements you want in the separator. To do that, temporarily hide the arrow by clicking on the eye in the navigator, and then add the elements you want in the separator. In my tutorial, I have chosen this image. According to my design, I will place it in the center and set its width in percents. I will duplicate it 2 times. Then I will go to the settings of the container containing these 3 images and set the direction to row horizontal and justify the element to the center. I can change the size of the images again according to my preferences. If I want to position them at the specific locations, I can even go to Advanced, then Transform, and set a value in percentage in offset. So, our hero section is now completed by separator, which has even more details. Let's complete this separator with a beautiful transition using a gradient. I will also show you how to achieve a cool scroll animation effect. Below the separator, add a new 2-column section, set it to full width, 100%, give this section a minimum height of 100 VH, and remove its padding by setting it to 0. Do the same for the 2 columns inside it. And set a background color. Choose a color that matches the color of your separator and another neutral background color. Change the location of the color for a smooth transition, all handled in CSS code, making it very light to load with the best possible quality. Let's add some content to this part. Put text in the left column using the heading widget and an image on the right. And then set padding as desired. For example, I will choose 10%. Define a text size and a color. Next, choose an image, center it, and adjust in its dimensions. Now, let's add an animation effect to the image. Go to Advanced and set Motion Effects, choose a scrolling effect and select Rotate this time. Now, the image will rotate itself during scrolling. Do the same for the text, but this time use a motion effect based on transparency. Play with the viewport to adjust the effect according to our screen. You can also add other motion effects like blur if you desire. Apply the same effects to other texts in the same column with different sizes, if necessary. As you can see, these motion effects are very handy and can be used on entire section as well as on widgets. You can also use them any way you want. If you notice any overflow, it may be due to the rotation effect of the image. To fix this, again, set the overflow of the parent section to hidden. Let's now talk about the sticky section. And what we are going to understand is how to make sure that this left part remains fixed until the next section. For that, I will create a new 2-column section, set its width to 100%, and then I will define its height at 100 VH. internal padding to 0 on both columns as well. I add text on the left section, center it, and manage the style. Apply 5% padding. While I'm at it, let me share you a pro tip with you about a custom separator above and below this text. I can add an arc above as an image. And instead of adding another inverted arc below by loading a new image, I will duplicate the first one and apply 180 degrees rotation in the advanced transform rotate. This kind of optimizations help reduce the page's weight, which is a good practice. On the right column, I will add a container. Set it to full width 100%. Add a solid border of 5 pixel width and a border radius of 50 pixels. I will add text and another text inside the container. Finally, I apply 5% padding to this container and another 5% padding to the parent column. I duplicate the container several times to achieve a satisfactory height. Next, I go back to the left column, set an internal padding of 5% as well. Then I go to Motion Effects and enable Sticky Top mode. The column is now fixed during scrolling. You can manage several parameters like its offset or in which type of screen to add this effect. For example, it may be not suitable for mobile in portrait mode in our case. The stay in column parameter is very useful and I will show you why. As in the previous steps, add a temporary spacer at the bottom of the page and set it to a considerable height. As you can see, the column remains fixed even outside of the section that contains it. If you activate Stay in Column, it will only stay fixed along the column that contains it, to avoid interfering with the section transition. Now, I will show you how to add an animated page, custom page loader and a custom scrolling bar, and a very smooth scrolling effect that is not available by default in WordPress. First, go to the back office and then navigate to Elementor, Custom Code, and add a new custom code. I named it Lenis and Custom CSS. These sections allow you to inject custom code into specific parts of the website using Elementor, and it's a native feature of Elementor. It's very useful in using custom scripts, integrating social media pixels or other scripts like Google Analytics, for example. I recommend using this function rather than other extensions available in the WordPress repository. Those extensions are often targeted as they are widely used and they can overload your website. Try to minimize the use of extensions on the website as much as possible. Our custom code will be divided into two parts, the style part and the script part. In the style part, I will use CSS code to customize the text selection. As you can see here, the background has a specific color, and the text stands out in white. You can change the color if you want right here. In this CSS part, you can modify the scroll bar on the right side of the screen. Here, I changed the background to black and applied an orange color for the thumb element, giving it this appearance. In the script part, I'm importing Lenis, which is an open source lightweight library that allows you to add advanced scrolling effect to any website. The script below corresponds to the scrolling settings, which enable you to add a very smooth and pleasant scrolling effect for the visitor, and it's perfectly compatible with Elementor. This script is a Google Analytics tracking code, which allows you to track traffic on the website. This CSS code complements the lens settings mentioned earlier. Finally, this script allows you to use a loader on the website. Before explaining how it works, let's create it on Elementor and then we will come back to this custom code. We are back in the Elementor editor. At the very bottom of the page, add a new section. Set it to full width 100%, 100 VH8, and 0 pixel padding. Rename this section to Loader in the navigator. Still in the advanced part of this section, set its positions to fixed and place it at the top of the navigator. Apply a background color of your choice to it. In the CSS ID tab of the Advanced Settings, enter the value Loader and set its Z-index in Advanced part to be just above the mask. To add an animation effect, apply an ID to the element. We'll give it the ID spinning. You just need to add some custom CSS so that the element with the ID spinning starts rotating on itself. Now, thanks to our custom script, this loader will only appear for a few seconds during each loading process, to allow all the elements to load in the background, and then it will disappear in a fading animation. There you go, your website is ready. The final step is to define your SEO rules and performance rules, such as enable caching, or even using a CDN. I recommend using the Rank Maths extension for SEO for the cache management and performance. For the CDN, you can use something like Cloudflare to make it even faster. You can regularly check your website performance on Google Lighthouse or the GTmetrix website. Thank you all for your attention, and I invite you to find all my creations on my website germain.pro. Thanks also to Elementor for this honor. See you soon!